What's going on, guys? So today I have a treat. Uh, we got now this player needs no introduction, but I'm going to give him one anyway. He has done extremely well during very successful in DBS and now obviously One Piece. He has just been recently crowned the new Pirate King of OCE just past this Nationals, and it was insane, man, going undefeated with Pluffy. Actually, I think you only got one loss during the whole day, which was insane. 25-1. Mr. Alan Liu. What's going on, man?
Yeah, it feels really good to have done so on One Piece, and yeah, thanks for having me on the channel.
Man, it's always a pleasure to have you on board, bro. You're such a top, good, like awesome player through all these Bandai games. You've like I said before, you've had a lot of success through it, through Dragon Ball Super, and now One Piece, you're killing it. Been doing very well, and you showed that Purple Luffy has what it takes to go that distance, man, and take on all those meta decks, being, Sakazuki and Enel, Katakuri. And it was a delight to see being on commentary too through the weekend, man. Like we got to see some awesome plays. We got to see inside and outs through on how you played the deck. And yeah, look, it was second to none, man. You did an awesome job. So without a doubt, take us away, man.
Yeah, sure. So I guess just going through the list itself, I think it's a decently standard Purple Luffy list. There's a few differences. I guess the main one is that I've chosen to cut Magellan and I run Missile Sunday instead. But I'll just go through the deck as it is. So we run 15 2K counters. So we've got the Khalifa, Miss Doublefinger, four ultis, and the three X Drakes. I think the two main ones, the two best ones are ulti is one of the best. Miss Doublefinger is also pretty good because she can help you ramp and by discarding one. So that's kind of like if you think of I guess like taking a life as almost discarding one because like you would have like spent a card to protect that life normally. Um, this is equivalent of just like kind of just like of like taking a life to ramp one instead you discard one instead. But she also has a neat effect where she's when she's hit out a trigger, you can don -1 play her. So it can be like a pretty sneaky body going for game, especially against Sakazuki. Ulti is really good. Just don -1, play a page one from hand. We have the four vanilla page ones to go alongside that. Just swarming is genuinely very good, and especially against Sakazuki, it is especially important. And for the other like 2K counters, I ran four Khalifas, three X Drakes. I honestly these cards don't really get played. I actually never really played Khalifa the whole tournament. In theory, it was there because you could like early game Khalifa's a bit more useful than X Drake, and if you can pair it with a kid, you can get some pretty good draws without losing any Don. Extract is just like pretty standard 2K counter. It's like, normally a 2K counter has an on play effect to make your opponent trash one from hand. So it's just like it gains value. So it's like especially when I'm up against Sakazuki, like um ideally I want to be on like 10 Don, and with that 10 Don, like my main plays would be either to play a Kaido if I'd like need to break their board, like Kaido kills a card and runs over another card, or I want to play 2/5 costs, which would like ideally be a queen because there's like an on play, on play. It refunds itself, as well as like X Drake, which has an on play effect. So I'm getting the maximum value of the cards that I'm playing. So yeah, this is just like I guess like pretty standard 2K counters and the page one. I did run one copy of the 5K page one for the side event. I think it it took the place of a blocker law, but I think I preferred the blocker law. Just the threat of the blocker law is good enough, and it's a blocker, and it's really good into wiping. And yeah, so I think I didn't run that one of page one in the main event, but I did in the side event. It never really came up, so that's why I cut it.
Yeah.
I guess for the other deck we have two other vanillas, Scratchman and Pooh. So this just helps your like this is mainly for your going first curve. You want to play a forecast. The best forecast to play is, in my opinion, like it's just a vanilla. I normally don't like doing OT page one, even though I have it straight away, because there are a few exceptions to that. But normally I don't like doing it because the main reason is you go Don minus a bit too fast. My general strategy is like I'd want to like hit 9, 10 Don as soon as possible because once I'm at the 9 or 10 Don stage, I can start playing two cards a turn, which is like normally like 2 5 costs or a 5 and a 4. And it's just like so I'm just like getting more threats on board faster. And if I go Don minus one, like if I go Don minus one, it can slow my curve down. And whilst I get the temporary board presence from the OT page one, like it just slows it down, and I don't think it's worth it in my opinion. Um, Also run 4 blockers laws. This is a pretty good, like just like 4 for 5k blocker is pretty cool. It also has a pretty neat effect where on play you can don minus one, and then if your opponent has 7 or more in hand, you trash 2 cards from their hand. Really good against Whitebeard. Which it definitely helped me win, like win a lot of my, actually win my top 16 game against Whitebeard. I think I resolved this 3 times the match. And then also in my last round of Swiss on stream, I think I played 2 of this. Really handy against Whitebeard. Um, I guess, and it's also handy in like against decks in general where you can kind of sometimes you can play mind games with them where like if they have 6 cards in hand, you put it on line, scratch man, you swing 7, and then it's like 2 cards for them to get out. If they take it, you can just like throw it in the law. So it's like it's a pretty good card to have just in general, especially if your opponent just like lose track of cards and goes to too many and accumulates too many cards in hand. It actually did come up once where you can don minus one as well if your opponent doesn't have 7 cards in hand, just to like trigger the kid's effect to get extra don back. And this just helps against if you want to swing like if you just want to get the extra don just to swing a slightly bigger number. Like you play a kid, you play a law, you get use this don minus way, trash nothing, get a don back, and then you get extra don to use to throw on your attackers. Um, I guess then I guess then we'll talk about the rampers of the deck, which are for Paulies and for Missile Sunday. Um, so these I think I play these cards because actually no. If I'm going to talk about, I also talk about this the Nikos Kaido as well. So I think my main strategy with playing this deck is like my mid game I want to ramp so as fast as possible. So if I'm going first, my curve would be ideally like a vanilla or any forecast would do on turn 2 where I have 4 don. And next turn I would go up to 7 don. Oh sorry, 6 don. Take a life of leader. Poly is like a pretty good play because it normally has like a lot of times your opponent will have a target that it can kill. There are a few exceptions if they don't play anything or if they play Borsalino, but then after you use Poise effect, you can make sure generally ensure that your opponent doesn't really have a board to threaten you with. Poly ramps it up so you go up to 8. So next turn you're on that 10 don, which is where you start playing two cards a turn, like normally like 2 5 costs or like cards with on play effects. Or if you need a like break a board, you can pair with Kaido as well. So Paul is pretty good for that strategy. Missile Sunday is also pretty good as well. So what she does is she on play she ramps it on in rest, and then if you have 6 or more done, you draw 1 card. So she is actually like quite good in the sense that obviously she does help you for your don ramping. But you can because she costs 5 don. Paulie is essentially like a 7 don play, but Missile Sun is a 5 don play, so you can ramp with her going second. So on your turn 3, you'll reach 8 don. You start the turn off on 8 don, which is pretty cool. Missile Sunday is also like if I don't see Paulie, if I'm going first, I don't see Paulie and I see Missile Sunday, I would actually like that's one of the few situations where I would do the ulti page 1 ramp because ulti page 1 I take life ulti page 1 that puts me down to 3 don. Next turn I start on 5. I play Missile Sunday and then I start next turn on 8 don, and it kind of like makes the don minus 1 on ulti page 1 not feel that bad. But overall, she's just a great card because even as like even if you're playing against like let's say Sakazuki, um, a lot of your five costs are actually like pretty vanilla unless they have on play effects. So like for example, like a card like five cost Kid would only gain its value if it only gains its value if it gains more value the more turns it lives. But if you play it like the Kid like Sakazuki will probably like kill it straight away. So that's why cards like Miss or Sunday, cards like Queen, which have on play value, and cards like X Drake are actually like a lot better to play into Sakazuki because they get that on play value. Like for Miss Sunday, for Miss or Sunday she draws one, Queen filters and replaces himself. Uh, X Drake trashes, so even if they do kill it, you still didn't go as neg compared to if you played like a Kid blocker and like a Magellan, which I think in my opinion matters less late game. Um, Missile Sunday also has a pretty cool effect where she has Don -2 if you hit her from trigger, Don -2 play her, and on play she'll give you one Don back, and then if you have six or more Don, you draw one card. This did win me a game against Sakazuki round one in the main event. He cleared my board, and I had a few outs, but I think I hit this off life, and easiest out to this was the easiest out to go for game. But like if you hit, especially this is just quite good into Sax. You hit it off life, extra body to pressure it with, and it's Sakazuki can normally like max kill two cards a turn. So if you can go like wider than that, it's like they're not dealing with it, and I guess their defensive counterpower is not that great. And speaking of the last card I want to talk about is Kaido. So this card Kaido is very good. I think that there were a few times where I think I overestimated how good it was. Basically, it's he's very handy for like breaking like almost like breaking a board where he kills a six cost or less, and then he probably just runs into another body. Um, so that's where he probably, in my opinion, he feels the best because he essentially like killed two bodies, and he's just like a ginormous 10k body that your opponent has to respect. And outside of Sakazuki, no one's really killing him. Um, the big issue I've found with Kaido is that next turn you're actually kind of weak because assuming like there are some ways to offset the Don loss, like you can offset it with Kid. That's actually probably the main way you offset it. But assuming you're on 10 Don, you use the Don -5 effect with Kaido. You go down to 5 next turn. Next turn you start 7 Don. 7 Don's like it's not the like you obviously want to be a 10 Don to like facilitate your ideal curve, but on 7 Don, if you play like a queen, then you next turn and use the effect. You next turn you still only start an 8 Don. So that's why I find these rampers help a lot with after the Kaido. So after you Kaido, you're back on 7. These put you up to 8 on that turn. So next turn you start on 10 again, and you can do your normal placing it. But yeah, Kaido's just it is very handy having the rush, having the ability to kill things. It's a giant body your opponent has to respect. I do run it at 4 because it's very good in the mirror. It's good at it's generally good into Sakazuki. You want to see at least one of this against Sakazuki every single game. Um, actually, yeah, you generally want to see one of this like in pretty much all games. So yeah, it's just a good card to have. And then the rest of the deck is just like generic, kind of like generic good stuff. So you got you have the four queens and the four kids. Queen is just always good on play, draw two, trash one. I run 12 dead cards in the deck, which is the four Kaido, the four Paulies, and the four Whistle Sundays. Queen's great at filtering them out. Kid's also pretty good. We do use Don minus effects decently often, and Kid gives you that Kid refunds that Don. So it's like obviously Kid's not the best into Sakazuki. It's okay to sack if you play Kid and then you play another Don minus effect, so you get that extra Don, and then you can just like swing with it to attach that Don to pressure your opponent. But like it gains more value in other matchups where you play it, it lives for a turn, and then it starts like refunding your Don minus effects and just constantly gains value. But overall, it's just still a good card. 5 for 6k block is still good. His Don refund effect does pair quite nicely with Kaido as well. But yeah, I do run the one of Urashima. This is mainly for Purple Luffy. mirrors, and I guess like other decks where they can't really clear big cost cards because Purple Luffy has your biggest form removal is Kaido, which kills a 6 cost. Which means this card is 7 for 9k is basically immune to that. This did really it only came up once in the weekend. It came up in my second game in top 8 in the mirror. I didn't see Kaido initially. I dropped this guy. He Kaidoed me, but he went pretty low in life because to get the Don required. Because I think he was playing Magellan and he Magellan me a turn earlier. So yeah, but this guy was just like a big body opponent. He can't really kill it. Just a huge 9k body just constantly, was a constant threat that he had to respect. But honestly, this could be cut for other options. You could cut it for an extra 2k counter, or maybe like a page one, if you want to go a bit more spammy with the ulti page one stuff. This is a flex, but I chose this just to respect the mirror. But it could be a lot of things. And the final 4 cards were two Gatling, two Blast Breath. Gatling is just good with like dead cards. You have about 12 dead cards, and it's just like 3k counter with that, which is pretty good. Last Breath. Initially I wasn't running this, but this is actually very important. Just having a 1 Don 4k counter is just very good for getting out of almost like lethal attacks because I guess with this deck, I think I've a lot of times I find myself building up a decently sized hand where even if I go to 0, they won't have enough to kill me. Like, because if I have like 12 blockers, so even if so normally I can rely on blockers to like not die, even if I'm on like very 1 or 0 life. But even if I do have no blockers up, like I can normally have enough hand to like survive one all-in attempt, and then hopefully crack them back. So yeah, and Blast Burst really helps with that. So yeah, so that's the deck overall, and yeah, performed really well for me. Just I went 8-0 in the side event, 9-0 in the main event, and then won all my top card games 2-0 except for the last one, which was a 2-1. So yeah.
Unbelievable, man. Unbelievable. It's quite remarkable to see how good the run was with Luffy, eh? Like, did you ever
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
did you ever think about I'm just curious as well, like with these decks, like did you ever think about the 10 cost Luffy, the new Gear 5 one?
Oh,
Yeah, that gives you an extra turn and stuff. Does that kind I know the build probably doesn't, kind of take that in, but I'm like I've always thought, can you mix it in at all? Do you think it'd be quite a viable card to run with it, or is it just like, nah, it's not really
I
gonna
think.
work?
I think for this deck, the Don -10 is pretty bad.
Yeah,
Because unlike the red purple deck, you have to take a life to gain the Don back. So it's like potentially if as like a really last ditch option, but it's not a searchable card.
yeah,
And I think the Don minus investment is a bit too much in my opinion.
yeah,
That like because if I want to reliably see it, probably have to run at least 2. But then it's probably just like because if I play it, I'm probably crippled for the rest of the game in my opinion.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's kind of more suited for the red purple Luffy
Mm,
um
yeah.
one, isn't it? So, but yeah, no. Did you want to run over your matches real quick as well? Or
Yeah, sure. I think I made a note of it.
beautiful.
So I think round one in the main event was Sakazuki. Um, yeah, that was a pretty tough game. My opponent did a very good job of clearing my board and all that. I think what won me the game there was like he was on 0 life. Um, yeah, I think he believed he chose to go first, which I prefer to go first in that matchup generally because um, I think the 7 cost Borsalon curve is very rough to deal with. Because again, this deck can't kill 7 costs or higher unless you run into them, which is not great. Yeah, so he went first. Did a really good job clearing my stuff. I think it came up to the end where he cleared my board. He had 1 blocker up, 0 life, and he hit me, and then I hit a missile Sunday off life, and that just allowed me to go like 10-10 or something. Or
Yep.
on sorry, it was like a 7-7 or something because I did use a Don minus effect before, and essentially go for game that way. Um, I think round two, I believe I was up against red, purple, Luffy. That was. I think this deck plays a decent amount of like 6k bodies. Like your vanillas are 6ks, your blocker kids are 6ks. So I think just like constantly chipping 6ks in the matchup's pretty good. And then like I think I played a Kaido at one point, and then also just having like a big 10k body just eventually just helps because I think that deck is it's a bit weird because it's like it it doesn't do much apart from playing like Whitebeard and then eventually trying to go for game with 10 cost. Eventually trying to go for game without the 10 cost Luffy, but I think like I just constantly just applied pressure and was just able to get cards out of his hand, which was very helpful.
Yep.
Round three was against Katakuri, I believe. Uh, I think because obviously the not having Magellan is not ideal, but I think in that matchup, like initially you do want to like try go to try like try to hit 10 as decent as quick as possible. But I think at that stage you just kind of just want to go, in my opinion, you just want to go like decently wide. Um, you probably they will probably get you to zero at some point, and then honestly, it's not the worst idea going down to zero as long as you have enough Don to like protect yourself and like have enough like 5 cost blockers. So I think in that matchup I went like because Katakuri's move is not too great. Um, as long as you go decently wide at the end of the turn, you play like try to establish like want to leave one or two 5 cost blockers up, and then hopefully also like hold up enough counter to like survive an all in attempt. Because in my opinion, when they play the 7 cost mum, you ideally want to have your board presence set up so that you trash the life. The reason I say that is because you don't want them to like land like you want to discourage them from playing a mum 10 cost, and and because if they have a mum 10 cost, then like they have like some thunderbolts and stuff, they can actually like go for game. But like in my like I've generally found that like because they normally swing sevens at you and you kind of normally take those hits, unless you like block in 2k or something. But if they like swinging that, I normally find that I have enough counter to like survive like one potential all in, even say Thunderbolt, and that's a very last ditch attempt for them because if they do that, then I'm definitely killing them on the clapback. But in this matchup, just go wide, just go 5-5-5 with like your a bunch of like 5 costs, and it shouldn't be too bad of a matchup in my opinion.
Yep.
Round four was like another Sakazuki. I think this one was. I believe I went first. I think I found against Sakazuki, like it's still not a like it's still like a tough matchup. But I think that for Sakazuki to do well into Luffy, it needs to see its like early game removal. Like an early Great Eruption Hound Blaze to kill your early threats, as well as like I guess just like kind of like constantly see removal whilst playing Borsalino. And like yes, Sakazuki filters, but that's actually a lot of cards they need to see. So I think in this match, my opponent didn't see some early game removal. So like my first 4 costs that I played actually lived, and then the poly that came out afterwards, I think one of them died. But then eventually it got to the stage where I was playing like 2 cards a turn, and then like Sakazuki can only max kill 2 cards a turn, and then um yeah, and then I think he just couldn't keep up with the board, and I think a miss or Sunday from life also helped a lot. Um, the next one is Purple Luffy Mirror. I think this mirror's interesting. I think because there's quite a lot of variance in this mirror.
Yeah, I was gonna ask how that
Generally,
mirror go up. Yeah.
yeah, I think there's quite a lot of variance in that mirror. Like the cards that mainly like ten cost Kaido really helps, and because it's just like a huge threat your opponent generally can't kill. It kills basically most threats in the mirror, as well as like 7 cost Urashima. Yeah, in this mirror, I think it's like a decent amount of variance because you do want to see like at least one of these. It's kind of just like you're just trying to like aggro, like kind of like out aggro your opponent. Yeah, there's like I think the mirror's weird because it's like there's kind of like it's. I think it's like the person who leaks the less value, so leaks the least value would probably win that mirror in my opinion because just in the sense of like just not taking like random like if just like trying not to take too many hits, and just like you ideally using one card to count out of things, protecting board if possible. Just like small things where you can just like try to gain like incremental value over your opponent is, in my opinion, how you win it. But like you do probably want to see like some top end threats, like mainly namely Kaido.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's interesting. So it's kind
Uh,
of also judging with how you've established from your mid to late game, and you know who's who's established what. I mean, yeah, and I mean if you've got
mm,
queen blockers and kid blockers on board, obviously you're gonna start to get more value on that, right?
yeah,
And then like you said, the Kaido, and like you got to see one
yeah.
of
The
them. I
Kaido
feel.
is yeah, it's really important because it's like the card is the only thing that like punishes like
Yeah,
kid and queen blockers. So it's pretty important in the mirror, which is why around four you do always want to see it.
yeah,
Um,
awesome.
yeah, round six was another Sakazuki. I think similar story to before. Just constantly kept up the pressure.
Yeah,
Constantly like ramp, kept up the pressure, tried to play two threats a turn, and it was enough. I think he didn't open that great initially. Like he missed a brand new at the start and didn't have some early game removal as well, so that didn't go too badly. Uh, Next round was Red Green Law. That was an interesting one. I think the cool thing with that was I didn't open poorly, but I opened Missile Sunday. I went first, and this Law, so he took the first hit, which allowed me to play this, trash two cards from his hand, and then I got the Don back with Missile Sunday, which is pretty handy. And I think the main thing that really won me the game there was the first 5 cost Lloyd played got killed by a 10 cost Kaido, and I was just like chipping fives at him, and then that was not pleasant for him.
yeah, yeah. It wouldn't have been a fun time at all.
Yeah. Next one was another purple Luffy mirror. I think. Yeah, I don't know how I won that one because he got the Kaido out first, but I think I hit like one of Zala's miss double finger off life, and that helped me apply some pressure. So like I could threaten a leaf with full, so he had to out like over counter to get out of things. But yeah, that was a pretty fun game, honestly.
Oh, you're being too humble there.
And
You don't know how you won that one.
honestly,
I
it's
love
like
it. I love
I
it. I
thought I was
love
a gun. It was really close.
it.
It was really close.
That's good.
Uh, Next one was against Whitebeard. Yeah, it's
Yep.
just this card just kind of slaughters that matchup. But yeah,
Yeah, look, I witnessed the triple back-to-back-to-back laws. I saw that, and it was just brutal because you got to the point where you established enough pressure to kind of force him into taking cards from hand, life, and then punishing him every time. Then with the law, and it was
mm,
quite brutal. Yeah, seeing that in action,
yeah,
how that strategy came about was actually quite interesting. So yeah.
yeah. It was really good. I think yeah, I think especially if because Whitebeard's removal isn't that great.
Mm,
I'm actually like having played the reviewing that match. I actually realized I wasn't a huge fan of just slamming this too early because again I don't like because it's a dot minus one. I That's not ideal for me because I do play a bit behind with like the maximum amount of Don I use. Actually think it's probably better to like slam this kid first, and after you've established this kid, because Whitebeard like these Whitebeard lists these days can't remove this kid. After you play this kid, you play this law, so you can just like get the refund the Don minus effect, and still have Don to make other plays and pressure as well. So yeah,
yeah, it's just full value, isn't it? Once you got
yeah,
that
it's
value,
just like
yeah, great.
yeah, because against Whitebeard, you want the extra Don to just sort of like go 6 6 6
Yeah.
and like burn cards from their hand. Yeah. Yes, and then yeah, so that was I believe that's 9 rounds in of Swiss in the main event. Then afterwards, it was top 16 was another Whitebeard. I think yeah, it was just similar idea. This thing
Mm,
like won the games as well as like the kid helped a lot. Yeah,
that's great.
not too much to say there. I think
It's top 16. Most of the decks, I believe, you versed from the 9 round main event day. You versed again on top 16,
yeah,
but you kind of going into that day two had a really good idea and down packed on how you wanted to, basically utilize your deck and yeah, move forward with crushing the competition as you did, so to speak, which was yeah
yeah,
insane. So no, it was great. And then drop. I mean, the finals was really good. It was a
Mm.
pleasure to commentate that, seeing you and can't remember his name. Um,
Zach?
Meek, I think it is.
Oh, Minchi, yeah.
Mitch, yeah, yeah, on Sakazuki. He's the only person that took a game from you that day, Alan.
Yeah.
So it was really,
Yeah,
really cool.
no, it was a really good game.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely really good games.
And look, and if I had to be any game, look, I kind of called it at the beginning. It happened to be in the finals, right? To
Yeah, no, it
to
makes it
make
more
it,
exciting.
it does, yeah, yeah. That was awesome, man. So yeah, no, that's great. So there you have it, guys. Like Alan showing his OC championship deck. Like it's incredible to go out through the day like you did with it, man. So congratulations again for your awesome, wonderful achievement there. It's
Thanks.
unbelievable, man. And look, we hope to see more of you in the future in One Piece. And
Hopefully too, yeah.
and also good luck to the Worlds event as well. That's going to
Thank
be
you.
happening
Thank
in
you.
March, I believe, right? In Japan, is it?
Mm. Yeah,
So
early start of March in Japan, I believe.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I definitely got to get you back on the channel for your for another another good chat. After your experience with it,
Uh,
if you'd be cool with that.
yeah, no, of course, of course.
Well,
Yeah,
man,
it will
it's
definitely
always
be fun to be back.
yeah, always a pleasure getting you on the channel, man. Thank you very
Mm.
much for always collaborating with me here. And we've done it through Dragon Ball, and now we're doing it through One Piece, and it's unbelievable. So it's great.
Always happy to be on it.
Any shout outs that you'd love to give, man, as well before we head off?
Yeah, honestly, a huge shout out to my brother, just like for the constant support throughout the weekend. Like making sure I was like constantly fed and just like helping with like honestly, it's like it actually it adds up. It means a lot.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, shout out to all the Sydney boys at who I've met, mainly like Good Games Miranda and First Games, where I play One Piece at, as well as the Dragon Ball community, who just like who's just been helpful like bouncing ideas of like Max and Blake for judging, as well as other Dragon Ball boys, Benny, um, so Benny and Kevin as well. Yeah.
Kevin Nader. Yeah, it's good to see them boys at the event and to
Mm,
catch up with them and say hey. So we've known each other all around the country for like a good few years now.
mm.
Since through Dragon Ball. So it's always great to catch up at these events. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, definitely is. Yeah.
Awesome, man. Yeah, thanks again. And thank you for tuning in, guys. Remember to like and subscribe and to hit that bell to stay notified. And as always, we will catch you on the next one. Cheers, Alan.
Cheers.